I'm not going to agree to a deal that protects wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders while putting food assistance at risk for nearly 1 million Americans. That protects wealthy tax cheats and crypto traders.
Can you just for a second realize how crazy that is? What Joe Biden is saying? Biden won't accept debt deal protecting crypto traders. So the debt ceiling, throw out the window, because apparently any deal might, allegedly, benefit crypto traders. That is insane. Honestly, I could sit here talking about this for another 40 minutes, just how insane things are over at the G7 summit right now, but I think you'd be more interested to read this. Fidelity remains devoted to crypto but will tread with caution. Right now, the situation that we're in leads all these major companies, all these major investment firms, etc., 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 to still go heavy into crypto, but kind of stay a little bit on the sidelines with the fear of Uncle Biden coming in or just the SEC just smacking all on the face. I should quickly also point out there's a very interesting meeting that I think you guys should attend, or I should actually say it differently. Every single time there's a Fed meeting of any sort, like we also saw a couple of days ago, I think at that point we saw 3 at the same time, make sure you watch whatever is said at those points. And the same thing can actually be said about the most important countries as inflation or interest rate numbers, as those definitely put a dent on the market. Anyway, I've got something else that's quite interesting, but before I talk about it, make sure if you haven't done it yet that you press that like button, because why not? Ex-Coinbase CTO, Apple and Google are systemic risks to crypto, and this is why. Apparently, if weaponized by the federal government, they could backdoor iPhone and Android to exfiltrate private keys. That comes from Mr. Balaji, the former Coinbase CTO. He's raised some concerns about the potential threats posed by tech giants in the crypto sector. He's basically saying, instead of this idea that some people have that the government might go for a 51% attack by taking over more than 50% of the mining power, they might actually go through the, I guess, easier method of forcing forcing companies into getting people's private keys. So they would be forced to hand this over. And this concern has been skyrocketed due to something that happened over the last couple of days. For anybody that does not know, the concerns with regards to Ledger, the most known, most known hardware wallet out there, they've been going completely out of proportion, and this same narrative is being pushed down everybody's throat right now because people are afraid that at one point, all of a sudden, the government could step in and force Ledger to give over people's private keys. And, well, I'd say take a look at what we got right here. Let me make it big. All right, so Mason said Ledger CEO confirms that the government can subpoena them and get access to your funds. Officially, my ditch Ledger. You're welcome for the hundreds of sales and I made you guys over the years. They treat influencers horrible, by the way. Yeah, they don't really care about anybody, no customers, no influencer, no nobody. That is the truth, I'm not gonna lie. That is not to say employees that I've met were not nice. They were. I just mean as a company, as a concept, I don't know. But still got a referral link down below. It's never made me much money, a couple $100, but yeah. The good part is, it seems that this is only available if you opt into recovery. So as we said before, their wording is very stupid the way they've done things, but here it says, well, basically to play devil's advocate, if a subpoena was issued to Ledger or the second, third parties by a government, could they use recover to access the Ledger without the customer hitting a button or knowing about it? And the Ledger co-founder, former CEO, and former chairman said, if you are a recovery user and have your shard into safeguarded by third parties, then yes, a government could subpoena them and get access to your funds. Using recovery gives you an easy recovery option and mitigates backup loss, but your assets could be frozen by the government. In theory, not a lawyer, and I didn't see any legal opinion on this subject. And the thing you got to understand is, that most likely there are already more ways for these wallets to freeze your funds than you might be aware of. Ledger is just a little bit different in communicating all of it. But you have to understand, the moment you ID somewhere, your privacy concerns and your crime concerns should relatively be pretty low. From the perspective of the moment you give them your ID to store your money on, it's like a bank, right? It's like a real bank. I've got a little bit more juice though. One thing that Will Chart said is that the IRS is supposedly going to implement KYC requirements for all crypto exchanges, obviously for US people in 2023. However, first of all, it's not breaking news, nor is it surprising, nor is it like potentially news at all, because we already knew that the government wants everybody to KYC. And so all he might have meant is that this is going to accelerate, but I don't really know any US exchange that doesn't require KYC anyway. And then another one that was quite interesting was this one, where Wolf of Wall Street was like, what? Yeah, Scott Melko was pretty confused by this article, and so was I, because as we said at the start of the video, the whole taxi situation, I'll quote, along with ending tax loss harvesting for crypto, the White House pitched Republicans a similar proposal that bars investors from deferring taxes on real estate swaps. Both the changes would add up to $40 billion in tax revenue for the US government. This is all a discussion about the debt ceiling and about proposals there. But with that in mind, everything tax crypto related was all of a sudden a lot more interesting. But in reality, this is a little bit of clickbait. It's not that deep, it's not that scary, it's not that bad. Metamask new terms and policies state that they may be withholding taxes. It does indeed state, we reserve the right to withhold taxes where required. However, Printer came in to state, everybody's blindly tweeting about the new Metamask tax clause in the terms of service, but not actually reading it. The tax section is in their fees and payment section, talking about products and paid plans they offer. If you buy a product from them, they can withhold taxes like sales tax for that product, just like Amazon does when you buy from them. Because you got to understand, MetaMask doesn't have your ID, so it would theoretically speaking be impossible to know where you're from and then to also withhold the tax that's applicable, if you guys understand my drift. It's also a nightmare to figure out exactly what tax rate to use where and the purpose of any single swap. So this would be too easy, all right? If MetaMask really could do all these tax things, that would be too awesome. They can't. They're not in the business of that yet. Maybe at some point, but they're not in there yet. And again, there are a lot of different opinions about the details of this whole proposal, but honestly, I don't care and I'm not worried. Anyway, to end it off here, the whole XRP SEC situation, I keep myself up to date with it every single day, but guys, just let me tell you how crazy I find it, man. I sincerely hope that a lot of people will have the capacity to understand just how wrong the SEC was for bringing this case up. And like John Dean here says, he also predicts even non-XRP holders and Ripple critics will have to objectively say that what the SEC did here was just flat out wrong. Just wanted to quickly get that out the way as well, because it's just so ridiculously stupid. But yeah, I don't want to shout on that too much. If you guys haven't yet, as I said, make sure you press that like button, and there'll be another news video tomorrow, so maybe I'll see you then.